are recording now. Right, we are recording.
Hello, Derek, and good morning. I guess it's good afternoon to you.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for inviting me to share what I would call is a new way of looking at the opportunities in business for the research community. I had been thinking of this, I hate to say it, 50 years ago when I was just getting a PhD. And I had done studies on taste mixtures. This is already 1967, 66, 67, 68. I finished in the very beginning of 69. I collected 16,000 ratings of sugar and salt and sugar and acid and salt and acid and quinine, etc. And I had the people rate how strong the taste of bitter was in the presence of sugar and how strong the taste of sweet is in the presence of acid, etc., and got curves. The entire thing took 6 months and required 16,000 ratings, 8,000 which were assigning numbers to the mixtures, and another 8,000 in parallel were assigning changing the loudness of a white noise to match the taste intensity. This was at Harvard University under my doctoral professor, S.S. Stevens. The importance of this, excuse me for 1 second, it's the end of summer and the ragweed is here, and I just got attacked by a piece of ragweed with its insouciant rottenness found its way to my nose, and there managed to do an Irish jig before I even knew it. So I just expunged that little piece of ragweed. And now to return, I digressed. Let me return from my digression. So it was 16,000 ratings, and that became a PhD unit. I called the 16,000 ratings in 6 months. And I've spent my entire career attempting to recreate my doctoral thesis at faster and faster speeds. If there's Moore's law for information, there's Moskowitz's law for data acquisition. And the unit is 16,000 ratings.
Yeah,
are you hearing?
Yeah, I am. I'm writing down some stuff. I like Moskowitz's law. That's a good one. You want to keep that? I like that.
And that is the doctoral unit is 16,000 in 6 months. And how could I do that? And then I began to realize that one could create a system for rapid data acquisition. This was the days before electronic acquisition, so even though I could have the respondents administer their own test stimuli and write it on sheets, I couldn't get it key punched quite as quickly. And after I got it key punched, I couldn't get it analyzed quite as quickly. Well, to make a long story short, I ended up years later creating the design lab paradigm in 1994, precisely 25 years ago. I seem to work in a matter of quarter centuries. And my doctoral professor, Smitty Stevens, said it'll be 25 years before anybody realizes whether you've made a contribution or not. And so now it's two 25-year periods.
Wow.
So 1994, I had this idea called the Design Lab Paradigm, which I published, and which people totally ignored, which was walk into a lab, do some concept work of the type that we're doing now, get the immediate results in terms of systematic variation of ideas, create a concept, put it in as a response, how well does this product fit this concept along with sensory, and get the results immediately analyzed. And the whole thing took 45 minutes to an hour between 8 products and the concept. Yeah. It was roundly ignored except by Sharon Fordham of Nabisco. The people from companies like Kellogg's had come in. They were sort of interested, but they couldn't understand why would anybody want to do something this quickly. It went against the grain of the expert panel. It went against the grain of the hero's journey of it's about me as a scientist. It was almost like the industrial production of knowledge. And it was, in fact, when I presented this to the Casro people. I was told by one of the people, Mel Rothstein, as well as Don Scott of Cadbury, do you want to destroy the market research business single-handedly? What you're saying is that you can automate the acquisition and the analysis of data. Now, we're going back to 1994, 1995, 1996. And so my paper to Casro on the design lab paradigm was rejected by Mel, saying it wasn't appropriate for the field. In 1997, they did accept the paper that I wrote for the Casro transactions called Research as a Transaction, where I said, here's what you do. You have systematic variations. You type them into the computer. You put in your credit card, and you get the data 5 minutes later. And I can send you that if you'd like to see it. But the interesting thing is, I said there would be a class war. Many of the research people would be left without jobs. And of course, the only variable that people will remember is speed. And people said, no, 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 it's our quality, it's our insights. I said, no, it's going to be speed, because people cannot quantify insights. They cannot quantify quality. They cannot quantify impact. But if you can get them the answers in 20 minutes rather than 3 days, you will have inevitably and inexorably and ultimately changed the entire research field. They said, no, no, no. It's all a matter of our insights, our quality, our value. And I told them, no. What's happening is a very different world is emerging. This is 1997. A very different world is emerging, a world where you need to be able to do experiments quickly. You need to be able to do them at virtually zero cost. You need to be able to iterate. There will be no need for so-called insights. This was a terrible thing. I didn't use the word insights because it had not become de rigueur. I said the analysis, the insights, whatever the word I used, will be okay. But you're now changing the game. You're changing the game to them valuing you for your ability to show, connect the dots, etc. I said, no. Your job as market researchers, as consumer researchers, is to do things which improve sales, S-A-L-E-S. So here I was coming saying, you must improve sales, you must do it quickly, you must do it cheaply, you must do it by the form of a transaction and not the form of a project. That did not make me popular, as you can see. Fast forward now 22, almost 20, actually 25 years since that fateful day in 1994 where I launched Design Lab, to the horror of so many people. And I'm coming back with something else, which is I want to accelerate the development of business by, not by giving insights, but by giving a system which tells you what it is, what the product is, Bimmy how to make the product so that it's cost-effective, delicious. That's MProd 360. And who specifically to tell about the product in a one-to-one marketing based upon science, that's the who. And that's the suite of the products. As Divya Nagarajan has said, it's the what, it's the how, and it's the who.
Yeah.
If you can do that in a day or two or three, at less than $15,000 for the entire exercise, you've essentially changed the game.
Yeah.
Like Google. It may not be popular now, but in 2 or 3 years, if we stay the course and we can have company after company do it, then all of the pirouetting around of, quote, we will provide insights, will give way inexorably to, we will build you a product in 3 days.
Which will increase your sales. That's the
Which will increase your sales. Notice I've never used the word insights. I have no idea what insights are. I will not tell you stories. I will not connect the dots. I will not deliver for you a story or an insight. I will deliver for you 3 books. Book 1 will tell you exactly what the product is. Book 2 will tell you exactly how to make it. Book 3 will tell you exactly what to say to each person and how to identify that each person immediately by a short 1-minute excursus on the computer. Are you interested? Most people will say today, I don't understand what you're talking about. As I said 10 years ago when I introduced this notion at IFT, we don't know what you're talking about. 6 years ago, 5 years ago, in Marrakech at IEEE, we don't know what you're talking about. At Food and Beverage Update, we don't know what you're talking about. 4 years ago. 3 years ago, we don't know what you're talking about. It's like people will never, ever have the sense that there's any value. The only person who really had a sense of it was Sharon Fordham of Nabisco. Everybody else was aghast at speed, was aghast at the fact that their unique talents might be compromised by speed, by low cost. I tried things like the Test Express. Every single project I did turned out to be the client demanded service, demanded pirouetting around, demanded their own little thing, and in fact did not demand that we produce a product that would sell. So those are my words. And by the way, my track record is only because there were brave people who were willing to go against the market research and the sensory wisdom and say, let's give it a try. They tended not to be sensory at all. They tended to be market research, but mainly tended to be marketers who had their behinds on the line.
Yeah, so you don't think that the 360 is specifically will go down well with sensory people, but more likely to go down with consumer insight people. Yeah, I mean,
no, I don't even think, I don't know who it will go down with. I don't even think any of them will understand it. It'll be too complicated. Yeah. It'll take away their unique ability, their raison d'etre. It'll take away the need for, quote, insights, and it'll become a business tool, which is how do you essentially build a product, a concept, a product, and identification in a week. I don't see it going down well, sadly, with market researchers. Not today's market researchers. I certainly don't know if it's going to go with sensory. Some of them may be advanced, but many of them are just into the insights business. I should be more positive, but I'm just telling you that I think it's going to go down with the aggressive consulting companies, the ones who have access to the top management, and I think it's going to do something that will not be necessarily wonderful for the entire business.
No, I think I can see that a lot of people, if they took this up, might potentially be out of jobs, to be blunt, you know? I mean, I can see that there's a lot of the stratas in research would have to go, and certainly the big companies will lose some people if they adopted this in a wide area.
And I don't know how fast it will be adopted. It won't be adopted by the people who are in power. It will be adopted, I think, by those who are very competitive and who will end up inheriting the world.
Yeah. Okay. So look, can I just...
thank you very much for allowing me to expatiate on what I believe to be the future, which is, I think this is the way it's going to happen.
Yeah. I think because what it is speed. Look and think about it: speed and value for money and results. You know, that's the key things. That's what's going to be delivered. If you actually look at it,
and if you look at it as a week,
yeah.
I mean, what do you forget about all the other metrics? What are you going to say when somebody of a big company says that it's going to take 2 months and we'll do some things, and somebody says I can do it in a week?
Yeah, and we could give you a mathematically systemized well, not insight, but result. That's what you want. That's where we're in, is the results business, not insight business.
These are the things you say about the product. These are the people you say it to, and this is the exact formulation. When I did that with Prego, they sold $3 billion. When I did it with Zesty, they sold $125 million. When I did it with Maxwell House, it turned around the business. What stopped it were the forces of, this is going to hurt our business, better not to do this.
Conservatism.
Coming up with a group, it's massively competitive now, and it wasn't hyper competitive there.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. And as far as you're aware, there's no great company. I saw an email you sent out that one company looks as if they've got something similar, but not identical. Yeah.
I looked at Curion, which is Tragon plus Q Research, and I thought, my God, they got it. Just swipe your credit card and go. I said, that's what I said 22 years ago.
Yeah.
But what I saw is, no, it didn't say, it said, you can choose the market and the people, and we'll do it quickly for you at 7,500 or so. And I'm saying for 7,500, we could probably crack the entire thing.
Yeah.
And give you the exact message, the exact formula, the exact way of identifying people. And instead of saying get your insights and go, I says get your product and go in a week.
Yeah. It's the results. Yeah.
Yeah, and not insights. We're not talking about insights. I thought they had cracked the problem, but I don't think so. They're not able to. They don't have the patents on this stuff. And frankly, they don't think this way.
No, that's what I think. It is a new paradigm if you actually apply it properly, because it is systematic, mathematical, results-driven. Use the variations, refine the variations that you're doing, and prove those. And refinement is done through maths. That's so it's results-driven, not insight. That's what impresses me. And I come from the emotional side. Now I think you can plug emotions into those variables and into.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, imagine from the emotion side that we can figure out how messages link with emotions, my papers on that, and how products link with emotions as well.
Yep.
How well does this product fit concept A, which is emotional tinged with this? How well does it fit concept B? I was doing this many years ago, but it was so outre, so different, that I think most people just went on and said, well, we have our panels and we have our, and there was this sort of this, not invented here. We don't know what you're talking about. You're not one of us. This is so different. And then they ignored it. And of course, I didn't bother with it. I published all of it.
Yeah. So can we run through?
Yes.
Let's do this. I'm going to try and find the right one. Let's first of all share my screen. So this is going to be share. So you should be able to see.
Okay, I see. Derek, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Dune. This is an Isaac Asimov.
Yep. This is scary, right? So you should be able.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh my God. Did I write that?
Yeah, you did. That's why I don't understand it.
Okay. Listen.
I do understand this because I've been through this, and you kindly explained this. What I'm particularly interested in is unless you want to talk specifically through this for the audience, but I mean the other people, in the team.
Yes.
I mean, I could start at the beginning. Do you want me to start from that?
Yes, let's start at the beginning.
Let's do that. Okay, hang on a minute. Let's just get rid of this slideshow. What do you really got? Play from start. There we go. So
it's a soda demo.
Yeah, this is background research.
And you can do this. Oh, now, why did I do that? Let's go back for a second.
Okay.
Why did I do all those pages? Because the output comes as an editable PowerPoint that you can put in your own stuff.
Right.
So forward. Blue is okay. And product and value. Let's go.
Okay, so we're into the research where you've got
Yeah.
eight different ones, number of
Now,
variables,
let
whatever.
me talk about that. May I?
Okay. Yep, go for it.
Yes. Let me talk about that. First of all, the ingoing assumption or the requirement, like all this research, is systematics. It isn't going to work by testing one product and doing a mean drop analysis or any of those other things. The answer to most of the developmental questions is relations between the variables or among the variables and causation. No amount of response analysis between products and curvature is going to do other than anything that give you insight, and the insight is not going to eventuate in a product. So what I do is I demand that we do exactly 8 combinations. Not 10, not 12, not 6. And the 8 combinations have either 3 variables at 2 levels, 4 variables at 2 levels, 5 variables, 6 variables, even 7 variables. There's a specific experimental design or layout, which is shown in this picture, which each variable has 2 options. Like, for example, the first variable is soda demo. It's your product number 121 to 128. See that on the left? That's
Yep.
your product.
Yeah, I'm highlighting it. Yep, yeah.
The study name is demo. Your product description is just prototype to 1 to 8. You add a random number. You have a random number.
Yeah.
But since nobody knows what the experiment is, the first variable in this 8 is 101 to 199, 200 to 299, etc. So you can put any random number in, but as long as it's following this convention.
Right. So
you can also require, when you do this electronically, you can have forced time between products if you wish.
Yeah, but that's discretionary, isn't it?
That's discretionary.
Yeah.
So now we have, how many variables do we have? We have sweetener.
Sweetener.
That's the first column. We have flavor A.
Yeah.
We have juice.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 3 variables. We have sweetener. We have flavor.
Yeah.
And we have amount of juice.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have another one, which is here.
There?
Yes. Another variable, juice. Another variable, juice. And the levels, options. And then we have, okay, so let's go to ingredient sweetener, okay?
Yeah.
The first variable is sweetener. You notice that I have 4 options for sweetener. Saccharin, 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 and then sugar, 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 sugar.
Yeah.
That's the first variable. This is all by, you'll recognize this as an experimental design. Flavor A. Flavor A is 8 flavor A's. Brisk, brisk, flat, flat, brisk, brisk, flat, flat. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the third thing, it's a ingredient C is juice.
Yeah.
And that's the ingredient has option 1 is like juice. The option 2 is like soda. Okay. Then we have another one, which is a carbonation. And we have low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high.
Yeah.
Then we have coloring.
Yeah.
Which is a combination B times C. Ingredient variable E is A times C. So we have 3, A, B, and C. Ingredient D is A times B. Ingredient E is A times C. And ingredient F is B times C. And ingredient G is A times B times C. So you code, here's the experiment. You code the ingredients and following, and I'm going to go downwards. you have, and I just want you to write this down if you'd like, or the audience.
Yeah.
Make 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. First column is ingredient A. Just put A. And it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. The second column is going to be ingredient B. It's going to be 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1. The third column is ingredient C. It's going to be 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1. Okay. The fourth column is going to be the product of A times B. So just do the product.
Yeah.
The fifth column is A times C. The sixth column is B times C. And the seventh column is A times B times C. You now have the ability to do in the experimental design with simply 8 products and a specific layout. You can do 3 products, 3 ingredients, 4 ingredients, 5 ingredients, 6 ingredients, or 7 ingredients. That's remarkable. Now, you don't have a lot of combinations, but this is fast. This is a day's worth of work. Or if you need to do a pilot plan, it's different, but these are shelf, or benchtop products or easy to produce products. If you need 6 months to make a product, you're in a crapshoot. No, this is not appropriate.
Yeah. Quite.
Okay, now you have to do your homework. This isn't guessing. I don't want you to think. We're not going to test everything. We know what's right. Make the products. First problem, many people don't want to make the products because A, they know the answer. B, they don't care. C, it's too much work. But make the products anyway if you really want to survive. Because it's likely that your client doesn't know the answer. The fact that the client's too busy, well, we're all busy.
Okay.
If you were told that you had cancer, you wouldn't be too busy with Diversity Day to find out about what's the nature of the treatment, would you? I don't think so.
Quite.
But, you're not worried about your company. You're worried about, your cold, but not your company.
Yeah. Okay.
So now you've made the 8 products, and you've either had 3 variables, 4 variables, 5 variables, 6 variables, or 7 variables.
Yeah, got it.
Next, let's go. Next page.
Right.
So now you want to ask for each product. You're going to test them in some kind of randomized order. And you're going to rate the characteristics. Liking overall, darkness, just right, liking of the color, image, etc. Notice that?
Yep. And it's a rating is 0 to 100, yeah?
Yeah, that's all, yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be 0 to 100, yeah.
Yeah, I get you. It could be whatever you choose to be, yeah.
So let's go back. So now you test it, and go back a little bit.
Okay.
Now the computer is going to acquire your ratings, and it's going to do an average across all the panelists, and then it's going to do some segmentation to which you're not yet privy. But it's going to look at the segments, and it's going to tell you the nature of your panel. You're going to age, gender, even the number of sensory segments that you have. You haven't gotten into the sensory segments, but let's go further.
Okay.
Next page.
Okay. Objective summary, flash results.
You write the flash results. So now we have the males and females. We have the segments, etc. Okay, we have ages and genders. We have how many are in each group. So we have 24, 15, and 9, and we have we have segment 1 of 1 is total, segment 1 of 2, and segment 2 of 2. Segment 1 of 2 is total panel. Segment 1 of 2 and 2 of 2, that's just do 2 sensory segments. I haven't talked to you yet about the sensory segments. But they have 24 people, and it's going to show 79% of males, 21% of females, etc. Okay. So
Yeah,
just
and
shows
we can research up to, what was it, 40?
hundreds. Up to 100, as many as you want. I don't care.
Okay.
The price is going to be a low price and $10 a respondent.
Okay. So
if you want to do 100 respondents, that's fine. You want to do 1,000, that's fine.
Yeah.
The minimum I suggest is 25.
Yeah.
There'll be purists who'll say, how do you know? I have data. They'll say, we only do it with 100. You will often find that the people will argue about that because that's something that they know about. They want to jump in.
Yeah.
And they want to talk about something with which they are familiar. So they'll jump in with base heights, even though it's an entirely irrelevant issue. Because the fact that it's not that, is this valid for 25? If you feel like you want 100, do 100. Not that, don't fight me on 25 and make that the stasis point.
Yeah.
You know, just do 100 if you feel like you want to do 100.
Yeah. And you can do demographics and all the rest of it. I got it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Next.
Key DV.
We have a key dependent variable. We have liking. We have a lot of likings, but we want to have one dependent variable that will be the overall thing. You have to decide what it is. Is it overall liking? Is it purchase interest? It was the number of times you would use it in a week. I don't know. You decide which is your key dependent variable. Next.
Yeah, I'm just writing that down. Tell me what it is. Yeah, because it could vary.
Overall liking.
It could vary by each study, couldn't it? You know?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Next.
Analytics.
Now let's look at what we learn.
Okay.
We're going to look at the input data. We're going to do smooth plots of every attribute, whether it's sensory, liking, image, or JAR versus the key dependent variable. The sensory or image or liking attribute or JAR will be on the x-axis, and the key dependent variable will be on the y-axis, and we'll see whether there's a relation. We're going to look at sensory segmentation. We're going to look at sensory mapping, and we'll look at product modeling. Remember, all this is going to come out within 2 minutes at the end of the study.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you get this is a kill shot.
Yeah. Okay.
Means and standard errors. This is no problem. You know what that is.
Yeah.
The total panel, overall liking. You see what it is. Okay.
Yep. Let's go on.
These are the attributes.
That's the
Then the standard errors.
Okay. I have to try the key dependent variable. Okay.
Now remember, okay, it's total panel. Let's go. Let's look at the total data. We average as a sensory attribute increases. This is all part of the presentation, so it's educational as well. As a sensory attribute increases, or as a whatever attribute, overall liking peaks and goes down. The specific nature of the curve is a function of the products, the nature of the sensory attributes, and the type of respondents. The analysis fits a univariate curve. The ordinate is the actual value of the key dependent variable, the grant, I call it either one, key dependent variable. The abscissa is a sensory level. I've also expanded this to the liking. The product test are circles. The curve is fitted, and it fits the data better than others. Some curves fitted. The optimal sensory level is where the curve peaks. Look for the product which has the optimal sensory level. We present these things not only for sensory, but for hedonic, JAR, and image. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, it's a fit. Those are your 8 products. The Y variable is overall liking.
Yeah.
And the X variable is sensory aroma. Okay?
Yeah. So X is overall liking.
Yeah.
Y is sensory aroma. Right. I've got that. Right.
So
the curve, just to give me a thing, right? So color, let's look at the second one, color, sensory color.
Well, it could be too dark.
Yeah. So which is of the color of the products, which is the best product, which is the best fit?
What is this product?
Yeah. So which is soda? We don't know what it is. There's an orange one which is back on the curve. Then you've got a sort of a pucey color. Then you've got a sort of thing. Oh, we don't have to pick. I just want to know where on the curve, where's the optimum in terms of which product is optimum for this? Do you see what I mean?
With these two products, the soda level, it's about here. Whatever soda level's around 50 or 55 or something like that, 48, yeah. Yeah, this is about a 48. Whatever soda's around 48.
Right.
See that? Can you see my pointer?
No, I can't see it. Let me
look at the x-axis.
Yeah.
It's 50. It's around 48. The optimal on Y is around 48.
Right. So it's around here. Can you see mine?
No. You're looking at aroma. Go to color.
Color. Sorry. Yeah. So
no, well, you're not straight down. Okay. It's about 48.
Okay. Color is 48.
Yeah.
Because these curves summarize the data, don't they? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what I want to know is which is the optimum. That's what I'm after.
It's about this one. It's 48 on the color curve.
Right. So the line, just to be clear now, Howard, I've got to push you on this a little bit. The line is not necessarily where it peaks. Is not necessarily the optimum, or is it? It
is. It is. It's the optimum level. And all you have to do is drop down a vertical and figure out on the sensory curve, which is the x-axis, what is the sensory level corresponding to the best liking?
Right.
The x-axis is sensory color. So you tell me the sensory color where liking is best. You tell me.
So I'm thinking was around about there and there, surely.
Yes, and if you could, yeah. But if you could make a product, make it just a little darker, yeah.
Okay, and on the aroma, let's take the aroma. Where would the optimum would be up here somewhere? Is that correct?
Yeah, but it also could be over there on the left.
Up here.
Yeah, as well.
So it could be that, the purpley one, and the orange one.
Yes.
Because it's the access, isn't it? This is the key, isn't it? Flipping it.
That's right, exactly.
I got it. Way. It only takes me half hour.
But do you realize the power of this to come out automatically within a minute after the end of the study?
Yeah, I could say because what you turn around to people say it's the power of the axis. That's what it is. It's where it is on the axis.
That's right.
Yeah, got it. That's what
I did this 50 years ago. You know, the irony is I did this 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And it created billions of dollars of products.
I got it.
And I gave it to the world. And they looked at me and they said, how did you get your randomized order? Why did you use 50 people, not 100?
Yeah.
You're too expensive.
Yeah, yeah. So we got the other ones is what did I call it? Hedonistic.
Now let's go to the next. Yeah, hedonic color. It's liking of color. Now let's go to the next page.
Right. Image.
Now the image is the x-axis, and the overall liking is the y-axis. And guess what? As you get more of aroma, whatever that attribute was, image color, I don't remember how they said it, but there was image color, image aroma. I don't know where we got this one. Image mouthfeel and image taste. I don't know. There were some words that we used. But those are the attributes, okay? The X attribute.
I got it. I think
next page.
Yeah.
Next page.
Just about
right. Just about right is very interesting.
Yeah.
Just about right is on the x-axis. So when you're just about right aroma, that's okay. Just about right color is wrong. because they say just about 50 is just right, but actually they want more color for liking. Just about right mouthfeel is okay. Just about right taste, no. The just about right scale isn't necessarily the most liked. Isn't
No,
that wild?
that's quite something.
Actually, I have many papers on that showing that I have reverse engineering, which I'm not putting into this thing yet, but I have a system whereby I can reverse engineer and show you the exact formula. And if I set the sensory or the JAR right to 50, 50, 50, 50, I can show you that that's not the optimal product. So I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 50 years. I showed this in 1970,
Wow.
a half a century ago,
Wow.
when I invented the JAR scale in 1968.
Wow.
So,
Wow. This
next.
is
What?
maps. We create two principal factor analysis of the sensory of the products.
So now let's go. Now we want to map the products to see whether there are any areas of opportunity, right? Holes in the map. So let's do that. What I did is I did the sensory only. I did a principal components factor analysis. I rotated it to Quartimax, and that produced simple to understand factors. I only looked at two factors, and let's go to the two factors.
Yeah.
Next page. I should look at the principal components, and next page. That's just a statistical thing here. Factor loadings. Let's go. This is the location of every one of the loadings on the attributes, what the attributes mean. Keep going.
All right.
Now I map and I show the following. Every one of the products is in the map, in the two-dimensional map. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I had their scores, right, for the total panel. Isn't this interesting? Not only do I know where the products are, I know where the opportunities are, right around here.
Yeah.
And the enterprising person using my technology in a minute can figure out that. I'll show you. Let's go.
Okay.
Now, the summum bonum for the total panel. Remember I had those 8 variables or the 7 variables and 8 combinations?
Right.
Well, what I have is I have an experimental design in which my 7 variables are statistically independent of each other. So I can do a dummy variable model or a regression model relating the presence or absence of the elements to the rating. Now, I don't have absence of elements. I have the change from 0 to 1, from option A to option B. So I can't estimate the absolute value as I can with BIMI-LEAP because I never have a variable has to have some sweetener. But it's a sweet change. What happens when we change from condition 0 to condition 1? Let's go. Let's go to the next panel.
Okay.
Okay.
Hang on, do you want to see that one?
The goal is to understand how changes in each variable from state 0 to state 1 affects each rating attribute. The experimental design was set up to allow 2 options of each ingredient or variable. One of these is the reference. It doesn't really matter which one, but let's call it 0. Regression will show the effect of an attribute on an attribute of changing from option 0, whatever that is, to option 1, whatever that is. The additive constant is the baseline. The expected score on an attribute in the test product is 0 in all ingredients, option 1. Thus, on a 0 to 100-point scale, the additive constant is 48. This means when the product is 0, 0, 0, the estimated for the attribute is 48. Okay, next.
Okay.
In turn, the coefficient for each ingredient is how many points are added or subtracted, sorry for the spelling, when the ingredient is changed from option 0 to option 1. Let's look at the table below. Let's go further down.
Okay.
So now the additive constant is 0, 0, 0. For sensory A is 68.7 when all the variables. When variable A goes from 0 to 1, you lose 8.7 points. When variable B goes to 0 to 1, you lose 23 points. When variable C goes from 0 to 1, you lose 11.9 points. So now you actually know the expected value of or the action of every single variable.
Right.
State 0 to state 1. The entire product. Let's look at hedonic D. Okay, let's look at this HEDD. Okay.
Yeah.
When you have all zeros, what is the expected? All state 0. What is the expected rating?
So where's it gone? We're going like what, 50 hedonic?
No, we're doing the one to the right.
Oh, right, that one. 28.3. So it's minus, isn't it?
Well, wait a second. No. When we have a product, let's say hedonic D is overall liking. When we have a product in 0, 0, 0, what's the rating expected? 28.3.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, we go into the lab quickly and we change A from 0 to 1. B is 0, C is 0, but A is now 1. What's the change?
So 6.4.
We add another 6.4 points, so it's 34.7, correct?
Yeah.
Now we go back and we close our eyes, and all of a sudden the R&D director goes in and says, or the product developer, and changed B from 0 to 1. Switched out and switched in. What happens?
Yeah, it goes up from the last one.
Right. So now you add another 7.8 points, right?
Yeah.
Now you go from C, and all of a sudden it's 6.7 points. So you started with 28, and the dynamic is if you switch out A, you add 6.4. If you switch out B, you add 7.8. You switch out C, you add 6.7. You add the whole thing up, and now you've got your new estimated value.
Yeah.
You've done that. Do you realize you've just essentially cracked the product code?
Yeah, because you've actually said, listen, if you do this too much, it's going to not work. But if you do it just right, or where they're level, B goes from 0 to 1, then that is
right.
That's the optimum. And if you push, let's say, for example, theoretically, it was sweetness, and you push the sweetness up too high.
The sweetener. You have control over the sweetener. You pull the sweetener from sweetener A to sweetener B, and you got 6.4 more points. Bingo.
Yeah, cool. That's blooming cool. You've got it.
Thank you. You've cracked the problem.
Yeah, you have.
Because I could do this with 7 variables. I could essentially, with only 8 products, I can explore a lot of the range. If I do that in a day and I run the study at night, by the end of the night, I've cracked the problem, correct?
Yeah, you have. Because it's all filled in.
6 months.
100 people, 50 people, 25 people, whatever it matter. You more or less got it. What about these other boxes? These the values in the thing. Now, just explain. Remember, I'm an idiot. So on that same matrix, so we've changed the sweetener, right? In there. So what's these on the other ones? Is this? Why are these?
A could be sweetener. B could be the different kinds of flavoring A versus flavoring B, and C could be in a soft back to a hard to a soft matrix to a hard matrix.
Right, I got it.
So now you have 2 options for every product feature. You can make, and you have exactly 8 products, and you can make you're up to 7 features. So you could make, all you have to do is make 8 things according to design, test them, and you would know the expected value of all 128 combinations if there were 7 features.
Yep.
That's blooming brilliant. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You do that in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the only thing that will prevent you is somebody saying, I'm not going to make anything.
Yeah. I mean, if they all make samples, but we
What?
don't have to have 8. We could go 4 samples if we wanted to, if they're lazy.
No, you have to make 8 samples exactly.
Okay.
No, sorry, it doesn't work with 4. I'm not in this for the game.
No.
I'm in this because this is a killer.
Yeah.
The smart company will learn how to make 8 samples and kill the competition.
Yeah, they will, because they'll end up with the optimum.
What?
They'll end up with the optimum. They will actually end optimum. And
every time I've forced the client to do that homework, they've made hundreds of millions of dollars. Every time they said, well, we'll do it our own little way because we know it, we'll do a softer version of this, they've ended up screwing up the entire business. You have to do your homework. Now, the option is not to use this. The option is to have insights.
Yeah, but this is hard maths and you've got figures to back it up. But you know, boards of directors, they like figures. You know, they like figures. That's moved from 1 to 6, you know?
They like profits too.
Yeah.
They don't like patterns and they don't like smiley, cutesy little things dancing around, showing insights and covering the distance. These people are in the business of making money, not in the business of smiling. They're not in the business of affability. If you want to be affable, go into vaudeville.
Yeah. Let's just see if anything. So it just varies. We can work this out. We can say whatever the variable is. We can say we put them in there. We can say these are the optimum. That's essentially where we are.
And boards of management love this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't get enough of it because a lot of people block it from coming in.
Yeah.
Because it's quite threatening.
Yeah. Anything else? Product modelability. Oh,
Let's go.
This was it. Product modeling.
Go below. Go below. Next.
Yeah.
Those are the coefficients for the variables. That's your actual data.
Yeah.
You know exactly what to do. You know the dynamics of the product.
Yeah. That's the key chart. That's a key chart, isn't it? If you're going to do
key chart, yes.
Yeah.
The variable, the product is going to be the following. Yeah. A is going to be 1. B is going to be 0. C is going to be 1. D is sure going to be 1. E is probably going to be 1, but it doesn't really matter. F is going to be 1, and G is going to be 1. And the biggest dynamic is D.
Yeah.
You cracked it.
Yeah.
There's 128 possible combinations, and in 1 minute you've seen it.
Yeah.
Now imagine the reaction of the chairman of the board and the president, who've got always in a sling, who have this for every single product in their line.
Yeah.
So this is what?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. I'm saying this is the key chart, because if you're a product developer, you can go, this is what I need to do. This is the one that works. And these are what maybe I can play around with it, or these are the ones, this is the optimal.
And now imagine what the value is of the quote insights or research person who brings this in. That may be the only person to keep her or his job.
Yeah. Because somebody's done this in virtually a day, depending on recruitment and all the rest of it. But logistically, the actual programming could be done in a day.
The programming is done.
No, sorry, the running the program. I meant, you know,
running the study, typing the data in is a day. Getting the results out is 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's game changing. And once the smart companies get it, they're going to push everybody out.
Yeah, because it just it actually cuts through the Gordian knot, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
That's
So
the way
let's keep going. Yeah.
okay,
Does
let's
this
keep
make
going.
sense now?
Yeah, it does starting to make excellent sense. Well done, Howard. This, yeah, what they
I
see.
had this, as I said, I had this 25 years ago and 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Now let's make some more money by finding people with different tongues. And remember that sensory liking score? Let's go to the next curve.
Okay.
Next page. Keep going.
There.
Remember that sensory liking curve on the x-axis?
Yeah.
And what happens if you look at individuals? Each individual is a different plot, right?
Right.
Well, you don't see that. But if we could see that, and we could drop down the x-axis, we could find out on the same x-axis where your optimum profile is for sweetness, for sourness, for darkness, where mine is. And then we can cluster our separate optimum so that we have two groups with radically different preferences.
Yep.
Let's go. Yep, you see that? Two different groups.
Yep.
And the computer does this automatically. Next.
Wow. I mean, this is again is a flipping key chart, yes, because it actually tells you that the segment A is whatever, and segment B is completely different.
Right. Next. And now the results. I have the segments.
Yeah.
And here's the data. Next. Next. Segment 1. Different curves.
Yeah.
Same x-axis, but different y's.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Next. 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 Now the mapping, okay, different, same locations, but different likings.
Yeah, a lot different.
Yes, next. Remember the dummy model?
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, let's look at variable 36. It doesn't really matter with A. It's certainly B, you want to do state 0. You don't want to go to state 1. C, you want to go to state 1. D, it doesn't matter. E, it doesn't matter. F, you want to go to state 1. And G, for sure, you want to go to state 1. You cracked it, baby. Next.
Right. Detailed result, even more detail. Segment 2, wow. So this is the other mind, which we call ambivalent mindset. This is the product segment. These are the people who have different likes from segment 1, yeah?
Yeah, that's so, yeah.
Yeah, look.
And over time, we'll clean up the report, you know.
Yeah, I got you, but it's the principles that count.
Next.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, so you got the same thing again for segment
the same
2.
x-axis, but different. But the key dependent variable is now B. Yeah, now segment 2.
Yeah. Different curves.
Yeah.
So completely different.
Same location, but completely different map. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at segment 2. Look at this. 53. Doesn't matter about A. For sure, you don't want to change to and B to option 1, or C to option 1. You do want to do it for D. You don't care about E. You certainly don't want to do it for F, and you absolutely don't want to do it for G. Wow. Okay, I rest my case.
Yeah. D. I can't see quite F at the moment, but I can see D. Wow. That's good, eh? Yeah. That's it. That's all. Whoops. It's gone. Finished.
Okay, so now you can see how you can do in a day what you couldn't do in a month or a year.
Yeah.
And as I said, it won't be accepted necessarily by consumer research, by insights, or by sensory. It will be accepted in the next few years because it's so cheap and so fast. And there'll be an entire world that will go, it'll probably be accepted by the insights people. Not by the insights people, by the analytics people, not the insights people.
Yeah, the analytics people might be interested.
And it's so fast, it's so simple, and it's a parallel direction. So you can imagine a contract development lab hooking up with an analytics person and essentially doing this. A contract development lab with an analytics person doing this on contract.
Yeah. Mm.
Because when we marry this with BimiLeap, this takes a day or two. You marry that with something that takes an hour or two and another hour or two with PVI, and you're essentially into a whole new Moore's law of knowledge.
Yeah. I think BimiLeap, this is what I like about this is products, right? I really like products, new products, innovative products, optimize existing product. BimiLeap is about ideas in my mind. It's about an idea or concepts and evaluating that and how attractive that idea is.
That's the product idea.
Yeah, the product idea. So you could either do BimiLeap before or after or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
It's so fast and so cheap. The cost of BimiLeap is $250 plus the respondents, and you get the report within a minute.
Yeah.
But you see what happens once you begin to do this. Essentially, you've taken out the variable of time and cost.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're so fast, and it's not compared to get this result. I mean, you're going to have to pay a lot more money usually for stuff like this. I would have thought.
I think you'd have to pay $50,000.
Yeah, I was thinking about 50K.
Maybe even more, and it won't be this.
No.
What it'll be is some young insights person coming in with a group and giving you kind of we think it's this and we think it's that, and you don't really know what to do or what to say or to whom to say it. But it's like some of the big research companies like Kantar and GSK will come in, MMR, Curion, will come in with their stuff, and we'll have a nice presentation, but the presentation will have cost perhaps $20,000 or more like $40,000 to $50,000. It'll have taken 2 or 3 weeks of quote expertise, and this is right here.
Yeah.
A day later, in absolute black and white or pink and white or whatever the color is.
Whatever it is.
And anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So now what will be interesting is the reaction. Will they poo-poo it like they poo-pooed it 25 and 50 years ago? The hostility that they had was tremendous. The negativity was tremendous. I stood my ground. And in the few cases, as I said, every single time we did it, we made at least $100 million.
Yeah.
But the politics were such that you didn't have this ability to show it. Right now, anybody could upstage any of the companies. All they need is an entry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is just with a team as well. Hopefully they'll look at this. To my mind, the way to push this through is disruptive. This is disruptive technology, disruptive research. This what it take you 6 weeks to do, or a month, or weeks, and cost you 50 grand to 100 grand. Be done like that, and it could be done for 20 grand. You know, if that. You know,
10 grand.
10 grand, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like it's not. it is a disruptive. That's the key to it's. You know, I read a book by Richard Koch about simplification, and that's what it does. It simplifies the thing. You know, in terms of the result, not necessarily the process, but because the process is so streamlined and systematic, it is actually simplified the whole thing. That's to my mind, anyway. Other people may have different ideas, but to my mind, that's my thinking.
One of the things you might do is ally yourself with a contract manufacturer and say, let's bring this in.
Yeah, I got a couple of contacts.
I was hoping that we could bring this into ingredient suppliers, but they have insights people, and the insights may or may not accept it. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But bring it to a contract supplier, contract manufacturer. They're in the manufacturing business. And you work with them. And let's see whether they can increase their business by 25 or 30%.
Yeah.
I did. You know, again, I have a long history, so I tried to bring it in with a Topco a decade ago. Absolutely no interest.
No. I think you'd have to. I think you'd. I mean, I've had some dealing with some of these guys, and you've got to protect your interests with these guys. I mean, they'll. You know, I'm not saying they're crooks, but they're pretty. You've got to protect yourself. You know, people like I won't mention names, but you know, because this is a recording. But you know, there's certain elements of the certain flavor houses, etc. I would be very.
I don't bother with the flavor houses because they're again. This is a recording, but. Again, they're wedded to the insights business.
Yeah.
They weren't wedded to the insights business 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But then they were totally against this.
Yeah, I think. Okay, Howard. Anything else you want to add to this? Because I mean, I appreciate this. You're taking your time. I know this. This is great. I have to say, from my perspective, I got to say this straight out. That was great because now I've got it, and anything I don't is only marginal, and I can always ask. You know.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about BIMI Leap and the personal viewpoint identifier just for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Both of them are in the same world. BIMI Leap requires you to do experimental design to ask 4 questions. For each question, provide 4 answers, get a rating scale, and automatically you press a button, you pay your money for the credit card, you get your respondents within an hour to an hour and a half. You figured out what the hot buttons are, what the mindsets are, etc. You can do now today with probably the cost of $750 out of pocket, what you couldn't do with $15,000.
Yeah.
This does away with all of the pirouetting around the kabuki dance of concepts. Now, there'll be still some people who want to do the concept work. They'll be wedded to it. But again, there'll be people who will, in your words, disruptive, that will use this and they will figure out the mindsets. You know, what if you don't get it right the first time? Well, if you were traditional, you would have gone out with crap and got your behind kicked. You would have still been in the stage gate method, so nobody would have punished you as you go down the tubes. But it's more important, of course, in today's corporations to go by the process, even if the corporation fails, because everybody leaves and decides to go in another direction. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is be able to iterate so that in 4 days, with 4 iterations for less than $5,000, you can crack any problem with communication. You hear me? $5,000.
Yeah.
Cost of a focus group.
Yeah.
That's one. Number 2 is the personal viewpoint identifier. And I've been working on this. In 2012, when we started doing this, we were able to identify mindsets for congestive heart failure. They put these mindsets and what to say on refrigerator magnets and on paper, and they were able to reduce the readmissions from 17% to 5%. We've also done the same thing for college donations, etc., and for the American Heart Association. So now imagine that you could take the data from Bimeleap and put it into a little system, and that identifies your mindset and asks 6 questions. And if you answer those 6 questions, I know the mindset to which you belong and what exactly to say to you. Make sense?
Yeah.
That should increase your sales by 30 to 40%. What happens now if I can do that for virtually a couple of $100? Now, what happens if I do more than that? What happens if I have an entire set of data on buying foods, beverages, 10 different beverages, and I have the small Bimeleap studies on each beverage, and I put it into a booklet, and I create 10 different personal viewpoint identifiers, each with 6 questions, and I ask the people to answer the 60 questions to get a prize or get something. And all of a sudden, for a loyalty program, I have everybody's mindset for those 10 beverages. I can give them ads, I can give them coupons, etc., without even invading their privacy.
Yeah.
That's the third one. I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen when one day somebody wakes up and says to the inner circle, you mean you can figure out what to say in 2 days? You can figure out what to deliver in 2 days. You can figure out to whom to deliver. Do you mean to say that you can, in a week, do what we used to pay $500,000 in a year and not be sure? And it will cost us $25,000? Once that happens, once that becomes the buzz, this is now the Google, the Wikipedia, the Microsoft, the Facebook, and all the other companies will be standing there like secretaries in the 1980s. What happened?
Yeah. What happened? Yeah.
So that's my vision. I'm giving it to the inner circle, but not limiting it to them. And I imagine that at some point, some investor is going to come and say, or somebody, we're going to buy you for $10 billion. Because this is game changing. You can actually have 1 billion people's mindsets on 50 items. Do you know how much money that's worth?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the mindsets is the key, and you catalog them. Basically, what you're doing with PVI, I always like to play back with the odd thing. What you're doing is cataloging mindsets for particular categories.
And what to say to each mindset.
And what to say to them, and what to say. And
exactly the words to say to them, and exactly the words what not to say. It's not insights.
Yeah.
You're right, this is a catalog. You can dial up a peace process. You can dial up a sale. You can dial up a happy customer with compliance.
Yep.
Precisely what I'm doing.
Yep.
Or what the inner circle is doing. It's all yours, folks. It's yours to lose.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
What would be really nice is to put this on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I can put this on YouTube. I can, if you're happy with it, I'm happy to do this. What I was going to do, I'll tell you what I was going to do, folks, just is to, I've got a video hosting service, Wistia. I'll put this on Wistia, and I'll send the links out to people. You have a look at it, and if you're happy, then I'll put it on YouTube. I'm
happy. I'm never unhappy with what you're doing. You're British. I don't hold it against you.
Hey, we're never taking you back. This independence thing, we don't want you back.
Forget about Brexit. What I would like to do is there's a 6-year-old kid that I want to give back, but nobody in Britain wants her. You've heard it's an O. Henry story, the ransom of Red Chief, that a couple of bandits kidnapped a kid. The kid was 6 years old, little Red Chief. This is some little kid in Brooklyn. And in a week they brought the kid back. No. We don't want it back.
We don't want it back. Too much trouble. I'm going to finish.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm happy to do this.
I'm going to stop recording now, Howard, if that's okay with you.
What?
Stop recording.
Yes, but I'd like it very much if you could put it on YouTube. I'm good and go through you.
Yeah, okay.
To get the links. And because I want an affiliate program, I want you to get the benefit of this.
Terrific. I'm stopping recording.